welcome back to Mask of the Slasher. We're on episode God knows what now.
No idea.
Kind of just lost count. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Today, we're celebrating Moa's birthday. Da, 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 that's me. This will actually come out a couple days before my birthday, but because of that, I chose the movie. Well, I choose the movie anyway. Let's just put that out there. I just do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I chose one of my favorite movies. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think that sounds better.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just that I wear the pants.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I chose a movie that I love a lot. And some say it's one of the greatest horror movies ever. I personally don't necessarily put it in horror. No, it's not.
What do you put it in?
I don't know. I put it in stuff. No, I don't know what I would put it in.
Oh.
You know, it's a thriller. I think it's more thriller night. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I think that's more of what it is. But anyway, what we're going to talk about today is Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
This movie I first saw once again. Thank you, HBO.
Yeah.
It was just middle of the day, happened to be on, and it was a long time ago. And it kind of just stuck with me after all these years. I think because of the time that it was made, and there's just some shocking stuff in it for that time. So anyway, we're going to go through it. I'm sure that most people have seen this movie. If you haven't, stop, go watch it, come back, because there's going to be spoilers galore in this.
Yeah.
This movie was based on a book that came out in 1967 by the same name with the author of Ira Levin. And then a year later, Roman Polanski, the
famous, not
really the best character on the planet. But anyway, he's the one that directed it. And it was just, it's kind of a strange one for me. Because the movie was released in 1968, it has, I have an infatuation with the 60s and 70s, furniture-wise, everything. It's just my bag. What can I say? So anyway, this movie came out, and then while I was doing all my little research and whatever, I decided to throw out some other dumb facts just for you. There was a sequel to it that was called Look What Happened to Rosemary's Baby. That is a horrible, they just couldn't come up with anything else. They're like, how do we still put the title to get people to watch it? And it was like a Friday night, Saturday night movie on TV. Like, what?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. And that came out on October 29th, 1976.
They couldn't just call it Rosemary 2?
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo?
I think they should have. Adrian Attacks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then later on, and I did try to watch this, but only the second half of this was out to watch, and I'm not going to bother then because that's dumb. But there was a mini-series, is what we call them now.
Yeah.
But it was just a two-night movie situation. And that came out in 2014, and it was a remake. And for the few seconds that I watched the second half, I was like, this looks lame.
Yeah. Well, what I saw, it looked terrible, yeah.
Yeah. There's just an atmosphere that the original one has.
Yeah.
Because of the decor and just that. There's just something about that time.
Right.
Where it just made it a little spookier.
Yeah.
There's going to be a prequel. That's going to come out this fall, and it's only going to be on Paramount Plus. Paramount is who released the original movie and will release this, so obviously they never let the rights go anywhere.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting. It's going to star Julia Garner, who was in Ozark, who I absolutely love.
Oh, okay. Is she the little blonde gal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm very excited. She's an amazing actress. And Apartment 7A is referring to the apartment that Rosemary lived in, blah, blah, blah. And so it's a prequel to whoever lived prior to Rosemary and her husband, Guy. So I don't know too much about it because the preview, if you want to call it that, is just an empty apartment with spooky pink smoke.
Oh, that's it.
This tells me nothing. And then any article, which was very few and far between, nobody has any information on it because they haven't released it. So they're just speculating stuff. And some people say that like on IMDb, it says that it's based on, Julia Garner is based on a character as a dancer, but then other people are referencing Terry, who was the lady who dies in the original movie, and there's no mention of her being a dancer in the movie. I don't know about the book. I didn't feel like reading it in 2 days.
That's weird.
I know. Eventually I'm going to read it, but for this benefit, I didn't see the point. It was just kind of stupid. But anyway, so I don't know what it's going to be based on. Either way, I'm excited to watch it.
Keeping it under wraps.
Yes. The movie starts off with Rosemary and her husband, Guy. They're going to tour an apartment that's in New York. The apartment that they go and look at, the woman that had lived there was 75 years old. She had died after being in a coma. And so all of her shit's there.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's there. I'm like, y'all couldn't clean that up a little bit? Like her dead plants and her, it's kind of strange.
Yeah.
But she had left like a part of a note on the desk. And this was something I just happened to notice the other day. But the note, like I said, is just a partial. All it says was, I can no longer associate myself. And I'm like, that's pretty freaking eerie for back then.
Yeah.
It's just so open-ended and strange sounding. And so, but nevertheless, I thought it was strange that a 75-year-old woman wrote it.
Right.
They decide, yay, we're going to do this. And they go and have dinner with their friend/landlord from their previous building. And he's a history buff or something along those lines. I don't know, that they never say that he's like a professor or anything.
Right.
But he knows all this dark history about this building and how there was witchcraft being done in the building, and they were conjuring the devil, and these two sisters were cannibals of children, and they found a dead baby in the basement. And the guy is just like, you're really selling it to us right now. But whatever, people in horror movies are stupid, and they're just like, oh, it's fine,
Of course.
Dead babies, whatever. Yeah.
No big deal. We eat babies all the time.
Yeah, they're tasty. Tasty babies.
Delicious.
So,
like chicken.
decided to hump the first night in the apartment on the floor.
Well, why not?
With just a lamp. It was kind of weird.
They're young. It's the 60s. There's a lot of fucking on the floor.
Jesus Christ, Joshua.
My bad.
Anyway, we've had this discussion before about what you can and can't say.
Sorry about that, folks.
Anyway, so they were making love.
Oh, yes.
They were making love. And that's what she said is, would you like to make love or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's just a boner killer
Yeah,
right there.
right.
I'm sorry. Anyway, so shortly after their move-in, they meet the Castovits. The Castovits are an older couple that live on the other side of this particular apartment. They could hear them before they got to see them because their bedroom backs up to the Castovits' apartment. And so they could hear all of their stupid conversations, and oh my gosh, like nails on chalkboard immediately.
Yeah.
But anyway, Minnie and Roman are the couple, Castovits, and she just is nosy and insists on coming in and asking the prices of furniture.
Right.
And just, oh gosh, she's so much. She's
really
so nosy.
garish makeup and
Oh.
clothing.
So they insist on them coming over for dinner. Guy's reluctant because he just didn't get the part that he wanted in this play or movie or whatever he was auditioning for. But they go, and just some interesting stuff in their apartment, like pictures missing off of walls. Roman immediately starts talking down about the Catholic Church and whatever. I mean, there's some red flags thrown up pretty quickly, but once again, young and dumb and just, oh, it's fine, whatever. But while this starts off so fast, while Rosemary and Minnie are in the kitchen doing the dishes like a good woman should, barefoot and in the kitchen, Roman and Guy are talking very quietly together. This is when the plan starts to come together. Rosemary is down in the basement one day and she's doing laundry, and she meets Terry, who is she's living with the Castovits, and she says, oh, I was a drug addict on the street and they saved me and this, that, and the other and blah, blah, blah. Well then, like not even a day later, Rosemary and Guy are walking home and they are in front of the apartments and Terry had jumped out of a window.
Right.
I'm like, well, that's convenient, isn't it? So, and what it ultimately is that she found out what the plot was, what was going to happen, and they were trying to get her pregnant.
Right.
And so she just ended it.
A lot of people flying out of the windows back then.
There were. Where Terry is, if you were to look straight at the building, there's an arch right there. That is where John Lennon was shot in 1980.
Weird.
Isn't that strange? And that's where they talk about this whole curse of Rosemary's Baby, which is bullshit. And the following day, Guy gets a call that why do people name their people Guy? That's a dumb name. The man who got the part that Guy wanted, he's suddenly blind. What a coinkydink. So he now has the part magically, and he kind of becomes a dick to Rosemary, and she's like, what the hell? And so he just suddenly is like, you know what? Let's have a baby.
Right.
Let's have a frickin' baby. And I'm like, you know what always heals marriages?
Oh, yeah.
Babies. Always. Every time. Just pop something out and it fixes everything.
Babies.
So, bleh.
Sorry, I don't like babies. All right. Come at me. I don't like babies. All
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Not even Rosemary's.
That's right.
So anyway, so they're like, okay, let's have a romantic evening, and have dinner and all this shit. Well, annoying Minnie comes to the door, and Rosemary's like, not tonight. I really want to get laid, and I need to, pop out this kid eventually. And so, but all she did was hand Guy 2 cups of chocolate mousse, which she thought was funny to call it chocolate mouse because she's trash.
Right.
So they're eating it, and Rosemary's like, man, this is gritty.
If I ever serve anything gritty, it's just because I messed it up.
we like gritty food in this house. Gritty steak.
Yeah.
There was something in the chocolate mousse. She gets dizzy, passes out.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the biggest scenes in the entire movie. Here's the nutshell of the dream.
Okay.
So she's in and out of consciousness. Guy is undressing her, and she's like, why are you undressing me? He's like, oh, I want you to be more comfortable. And then suddenly she is floating on a mattress, and then suddenly she's on a yacht that's being steered by John F. Kennedy. There's that situation, then suddenly this man says, you need to go down whatever into the bottom of the boat and go get raped by Satan.
Yeah, why not?
So she goes down there, gets tied down. Jackie Kennedy has a conversation with her before she's going to get raped.
Yeah.
And then it's Guy coming towards her, but Guy turns into Satan somehow.
Yeah.
And then the Pope is there having a convo with Rosemary while she's getting off.
Right.
Even in the book it said she had hoped that he didn't notice that she just had an orgasm.
Oh.
And the book it's definitely a little bit more graphic verbally. But it's a weird dream. There's images of the Sistine Chapel in there. And just like I said, a lot of symbolism in it. And it's eerie.
Yeah.
And I think when I first saw this, I was taken aback by what I had just watched. She wakes up, she's got a bunch of scratches on her back. And Guy's like, well, I didn't want to miss out on baby making night. And she's like, I would have liked to have been part of the party too, So that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Of course she becomes pregnant.
Yeah.
Instantly. And the neighbors are insisting she goes to a certain doctor, even though she had already established herself with a different one.
Feeding her a bunch of weird shit.
Feeding her some weird shit. Yeah, because there's a necklace that Terry first has it, and then she has it, and it has something called tannis root in it, which does not actually exist. And it smells horrible, apparently. It smells like ass.
Yeah.
So Minnie's giving her these herbal drinks and cakes and stuff, and Rosemary just feels and looks like absolute shit.
Yeah.
This was a little more than morning sickness.
Yeah.
And the doctor just keeps going, oh, it's fine, it's normal, it'll pass.
Yeah.
It's like, don't read any books. Just don't look into any of this. It's fine. She has a party that she decides is just going to be the young people and not the annoying neighbors.
Right.
And they're like, hey, go get a second opinion. You look like shit.
Right.
And so it just kind of snowballs a little bit from there. And in that, their friend Hutch, he had called the apartment and said, hey, meet me tomorrow for lunch, whatever. So she goes downtown to go meet him. He doesn't show up. She calls, and they're like, oh, well, he's taken ill, blah, blah, blah. And he went into a coma. And son of a bitch dies. Right. Which was sad.
Yeah.
Because he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he had visited the apartment, and Roman was like, hey, easing in on my girl, you know. And so that was, it was bound to happen, unfortunately. But before he died, he gave, who I think was like a secretary or caretaker, they never really clarify who she is, gives her a book to give to Rosemary.
Right.
And in there is an anagram, is what he said to tell Rosemary. So Rosemary's trying to solve this anagram, and it's based off of their neighbor Roman Castevet's name. And you just move some shit around, and it's the name of Adrian Marcato, who was the, witch or warlock, whatever you would like to call him, that was conjuring up the devil that Hutch was talking about. Right. She doesn't know what to do, so she grabs all of her shit, and she goes to the first doctor she wanted to go to, and he's like, it's fine, we'll take care of you, it's fine. She takes a little nap in the office. Then Guy and Dr. Saperstein, the shitty doctor, they show up and bring her back. She gives birth. And of course, as most people know, she gave birth to Satan's child.
Right.
So, and you're finding out how many people are in on this.
Right.
Because obviously Dr. Hill.
Yeah.
Which is, it's still kind of funny to me because was he like...
Like, was he actually in on it, or was he just like, she's crazy, and I'm going to give her back to her husband because it's the 60s and women are oppressed?
Well, I think that is a big part of it, because that is some of the subject matter that people talk about with this is that, you know, it's a constant theme in this of downplaying a woman's feelings and emotions, because when she says to Guy, you know, I want to go and have a second opinion, and he was like, well, how is Dr. Saperstein going to feel? And she was like, who gives a shit about him?
Yeah.
I'm the one in pain.
Right. This is probably one of the first movies that kind of has that theme of the woman, you know, getting into whatever the situation is, and then it just constantly getting downplayed, or everybody tells her she's crazy, or, you know, all this, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably one of the first horror movies that did that.
It is, and it is an ongoing theme forever now, where they move into a haunted house, and she's like, but I keep seeing things. No, you don't.
Yeah.
During that time, there was even a magazine she read when she was in the doctor's office. It was a Time magazine that came out right around, like a few months before the filming was happening. And on the cover of it, it said, "Is God dead?"
Oh.
And then there's some other fun little things. So she's reading a book that Sammy Davis Jr. wrote. It has been said that he was part of the Church of Satan at some point.
Yeah, I believe there is a picture of him and Anton LaVey out there floating around.
And the only reason I knew about it is because I read Anton LaVey's book, but I've never been able to really confirm it. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of proof of things that you could find these days, you know.
It's a super claustrophobic movie, too, because she's, like, totally alone in that situation. There's nobody to help her. Every time it seems like somebody's going to help her, they either die, or they're in on it, or maybe they're not in on it, but they think she's just crazy, you know, just a crazy woman or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like very like just walls closing in on her, you know, just slowly but surely throughout the whole movie.
Well, and even after she had the baby, you know, and she goes and sees it, and there's something not right about that child, she kind of still just buckles.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I guess these are the cards that I was dealt, you know. I guess I got Satan's baby to take care of here. She doesn't have a choice in anything.
Yeah.
And just when you think she's getting away or she's going to figure something out, then nope, just kidding.
And the ending, even still, there's no way out, you know. It's kind of surprising for back then, especially not to have like a happy ending or, you know, she escapes or anything.
He wanted Sharon Tate as that part at one point, but he thought it was unethical. Okay.
All right, dude.
I'm not going to talk about what he did. If you want to find out, go look it up. But not a good man.
No.
Not a good man. So, and then you and I have watched that series that was on Shudder that was like cursed films or whatever.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And Rosemary's Baby was in there, and when we watched it, it really had nothing to do with Rosemary's Baby.
No.
It had to do with Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate and the Manson murders.
Yeah.
And it's like, that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
That whole cursed movie thing, I'm like,
Yeah.
There is a behind-the-scenes situation on the DVD.
Yeah.
Hot garbage.
Yeah.
Because it was filmed then.
Back then,
yeah. And it's almost like Geraldo reporting on stuff. You know, here's Roman off to the side enjoying a piece of pizza. You know, and just like, okay, cool. It's very chaotic and weird. And there's like some footage of Mia Farrow painting flowers on a wall because they just needed a happy place on the set. And so useless. What is your situation on this movie? When did you first see it?
I don't even remember when I first saw this, to be honest with you. I know that whenever we first watched it together, I hadn't seen it in years at that point. So I honestly don't even know.
Rosemary's Baby is a very slow burn.
Oh, for sure.
But not in the typical, we're waiting for the story to build up burn.
Yeah.
Because that happens immediately. It's just because of how things were written back then and how people acted them out. And it was just a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just, you know, jump scares and bullshit the whole time.
Right.
So you have to just appreciate how filmmaking was done back then and how it looked.
Yeah.
To be able to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is a good basis for a lot of these types of movies and for horror in itself.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a foundation of horror.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's Jaws, there's Psycho, you know.
Yeah.
These are, you know, the building blocks of
Right,
horror.
right.
And you wouldn't have what you have now. You wouldn't have all the Satan baby, any of that theme would not be in existence if it weren't for this movie.
Right. Here's one question I have. Why are all the Satanists old people?
I don't know. Maybe because that's a little bit more jarring to think that these are supposed to be like grandparents, like the people you trust.
Yeah.
Because the cast of it, they're supposed to be like innocent, annoying old people.
Right.
But no, it's deceiving. But that is kind of a theme that continues through also, once again, like in Lords of Salem, a bunch of old floppy boobs.
True. Very true.
So, I think it's just old witches.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, any books that had witches in it or
That's
movies,
true.
they were
Like
old and
Crones,
gross. Yeah. The fact that people tie together witchcraft and Satanism together.
Right.
That they are just automatically hand in hand. That's not the case, folks.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. But that has always been.
Yeah.
Like automatically, I mean, it's been since the witch trials.
Right.
That you're automatically a child of Satan, or you worship Satan, or you hump Satan.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do with them.
Yeah.
Have poker games.
Poker tournaments with Satan. Yeah, why not?
Bake parties.
Bake sales.
Yeah.
Satanic bake sales. Yeah, why not?
So, probably sex toy parties.
Probably.
I mean, that's something Satan would probably do.
Satan would be into.
Yeah. Butt plugs.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing that I'm like, But like I said, I can't really say much about it. Nowadays, it's just absolute bullshit if people put those two together.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
When it's making fun of the history of it, or just continuing that theme because of historically, like once again Rob Zombie did, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But this day and age, we should know better.
Right. Agreed.
We don't.
No, but we should.
There's a lot of folks that don't know that.
We don't, but we should.
Go read some books. Yeah. So, anyway, I think that's pretty much it.
Yes.
It's a good movie.
Yes.
I did a lot of talking. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's your birthday.
Whee!
Happy birthday.
Whee! Yay! Well, and this is, like I said, this is a movie I really think a lot of people need to see. This is not one you want to watch when you're tired.
No, definitely not.
I could definitely take a nap to this
for
movie.
sure.
Yeah, let's go watch it right now. That'd be it.
Exactly.
But I think it's important. It's definitely important. It's got a good creepy soundtrack situation. That's actually Mia Farrow singing the little lullaby.
Really?
Yeah. What was up with the lullaby songs in movies?
Yeah.
The other one that really stands out to me is what was it? Flowers in the Attic.
Oh,
And The Omen had a weird one, and it's just like, oh, creepy lullabies.
Yeah.
Ooh, shit. So, yeah, but still a good movie.
Yeah.
Great
absolutely.
freaking movie. Wish they'd put it in the theater for just a one night.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.